Hi everyone, I'm going to show you how to annotate flowers for Algernon today. You'll see that I have the prompt, the packet, which is the story, and you need a highlighter of any color and at least a pencil. I like to use a pen instead of a pencil because the color stands out. Let's begin. First, let's understand these instructions. Your assignment is to annotate flowers of Algernon to understand it better. So there's one reason. To track Charlie's character development. That's the second reason. And to identify areas of insight and confusion. There are three reasons we're annotating. Here's the directions. It looks like we have two things we need to do when we annotate. We need to mark it up, and we need to add marginalia. Marginalia is just a fancy word for stuff written in the margins. Let's begin by looking at marking it up. We need to highlight interesting, weird, or unique ideas. Oh, we're going to circle misspelled words. Oh my gosh, there's going to be a lot of circles, I'm telling you now. And now we need to underline and label steal. Well, what is steal? Since we're tracking Charlie's character development, he's our main character, Charlie Gordon. The way to do that is to use this acronym to sort different details you find. If you see him speak, we're going to underline it and mark it with an S. If he reveals his thoughts to us, we're going to underline it and mark it with a T. If we see how he's affecting others, like other characters are reacting to him, then we're going to mark it with E for effect on others. If he has actions that kind of reveal something about him, maybe that he's clumsy or it reveals a character trait, whatever, we're going to mark it with an A. And if it talks about his looks, what he looks like, how he dresses, the reason authors include that is, one, to give us an idea to picture, or two, to reveal something about him, about the character. So we would mark that with an L. In the margins, we can do really anything, but you just need 3 comments on every page. If you don't know what else to write and you're stuck, always go for summary. If you just stop and you summarize a paragraph now and then, it shows me you're understanding what's happening in the story, which is our first goal. And it's really helpful to be able to go back through the packet and see and just flip through your summaries. It's a good way to recap. You can also react to what's happening in authentic and relevant ways. That's what I like to do. I like to react to the story like they're characters I can talk to. This makes me feel more awake and alert while I read. And we know that I've told you, I'm a lazy reader. I really only enjoy books that are interesting to me. So sometimes I have to find ways to be interested. You can also connect the text to your life, the world, or another text, like, oh, this reminds me of a time when, or, oh, isn't this the same as that one character in the other book I read? Repetitions we learned from reading Telltale Heart are important and intentional. We could predict what happens next, or we can make an inference or an interpretation about something in the character, maybe a theme or a literary device. If I notice a metaphor, I could analyze, what is this metaphor? What's it doing here? Here's how it'll be graded. It looks like we need to, oh, it's trying to focus. It looks like we need to label and explain steal on every page. And I would assume that means at least once. And since I wrote the rubric, that is correct. And I need annotations that are thorough, thoughtful, and frequent. So I should not be skipping paragraphs without showing what my thoughts are about the paragraph. Go ahead and read the rest of the rubric now. Notice that if you're labeling Steele, you're finding areas where the character's speech, thoughts, effect on others, actions, or looks are revealed. But if you're not explaining it, like what do we learn about the character, then you're not yet proficient. Okay, let's get started. I'm going to mark up progress report 1 and 2 as a model. Please follow along, and you can go ahead and mark the same things, or you can watch this and then do your own version. First thing I want to do is I want to remind myself what I'm highlighting, what am I circling, and what am I underlining. I'm highlighting interesting ideas, interesting or important ideas. I'm circling misspelled words, and oh my gosh, that's going to be a lot. And I'm underlining character development for Charlie. Specifically looking for his speech, his thoughts, his effect on others, his actions, or his looks. Let's begin. Flowers for Algernon by Daniel Keyes. Progress Report 1, March 5th, 1965. Already, there are misspelled words all over the place. Mr. Strauss says I should write down what I think and everything that happens to me from now on. Oof, lots of misspellings. I don't know why. Technically that counts because he doesn't have an apostrophe. I don't know why, but he says it's important. And they will see if they will use me. Interesting. They will see if they will use me. I hope they use me. Oh, that is definitely a thought. We're going to underline that. I'm going to arch over to the margin. And we have a thought. Charlie wants to be used for something, but we don't know what yet. You don't have to always write down comments when you notice elements of character, but it's useful sometimes. Miss Kinnian says maybe they can make me smart. I want to be smart. My name is Charlie Gordon. I am 37 years old, and 2 weeks ago was my birthday. I have nothing more to write now, so I will close for today. Okay, I just read those 3 sentences. I'm going to reread them and mark things up. This is misspelled because it actually needs hyphens. But wow, he's 33. That's important. I have nothing more to write about. It's interesting he doesn't even spell right, so I will close for today. I don't have any other comments besides this one. I'm wondering what he wants to be used for. Let's go to the next section. If at this time you understand what is asked of you, you can stop the video and start reading and annotating on your own. I would suggest reading it paragraph at a time and then stopping and going back and marking up the paragraph. Then read the next paragraph, stop, go back. Next paragraph. Or you can do it by progress report. You could read the whole progress report just for fun at once, then go back and annotate. In fact, that's what I'm going to try for the second one. So if you'd like to listen, I'm going to read this part. Progress Report 2, March 6th. I had a test today. I think I failed it. And I think that maybe now they won't use me. So already he has a fear. Oh, see, I'm really bad at just reading. So I'm going to force myself to just put these down and enjoy the story. I had a test today. I think I failed it. And I think that maybe now they won't use me. What happened is a nice young man was in the room, and he had some white cards with ink spilled all over them. He said, "Charlie, what do you see on this card?" I was very scared, even though I had my rabbit's foot in my pocket, because when I was a kid, I always failed tests in schools, and I spilled ink on them too. I spilled ink too. I told him I saw an ink blot. He said yes, and it made me feel good. I thought that was all, but when I got up to go, he stopped me. He said, "Now sit down, Charlie. We are not through yet." Then I don't remember so good, but he wanted me to say what was in the ink. I didn't see nothing in the ink, but he said there was pictures there. Other people saw some pictures. I couldn't see any pictures. I really tried to see. I held the card close up and then far away. Then I said if I had my glasses, I could see better. I usually only wear my glasses in the movies or TV, but I said they're all in the closet in the hall. I got them. Then I said, let me see that card again. I bet I'll find it now. I tried hard, but I still couldn't find the pictures. I only saw the ink. I told him maybe I need new glasses. He wrote something down on the paper, and I got scared of failing the test. I told him it was very nice ink blot with little points all around the edges. He looked very sad, so that wasn't it. I said, please let me try again. I'll get it in a few minutes because I'm not so fast sometimes. I'm a slow reader too in Miss Kinnion's class for slow adults, but I'm trying very hard. Ooh. This tells us something really important about him. He gave me a chance with another card that had two kinds of ink spilled on it, red and blue. He was very nice and talked slow like Miss Kinnion does, and he explained it to me that it was a Rorschach. He said, people see things in the ink. I said, show me where. He said, think. I told him, I think a ink blot, but that wasn't right either. He said, what does it remind you? Pretend something. I closed my eyes for a long time to pretend. I told him I pretend a fountain pen with ink leaking all over a tablecloth. Then he got up and went out. I don't think I passed the Rorschach test. So with my instructions nearby, I'm going to go back and mark it up. First, I see a lot of misspellings again. Lots of misspellings. When he says I was very scared, even though I had my rabbit's foot in my pocket, because when I was a kid, I was always failed tests in school, and I spilled ink too. This is a thought. So when you have feelings, they're tied to thoughts. So feelings will really be thoughts. This is Charlie thinking in his journal. We're reading what looks like progress reports, and it looks like a journal. Every day or so he's writing. So this thought reveals something about him. He's superstitious. This is an inference. An inference is a clue from the text combined with your background knowledge and if you combine those things, you get to come to a conclusion or a claim. In this case, the author has strategically mentioned a rabbit's foot. That's the clue. And if you know anything about rabbit's feet, you know that they're used as talismans or little objects for good luck. So this is my inference. He's superstitious, and I have evidence from right there. I told him I saw an ink blot. He said yes, and it made me feel good. I thought that was all, but when I got up to go, he stopped me. He said, now sit down, Charlie. We're not through yet. Then I don't remember so good, but he wanted me to say what was in the ink. This is really interesting. He can't even spell simple words like wanted. And that must mean he maybe his memory is affected. Like, let's see, this would be an action because he's literally writing in the journal. That's what this is going, what's happening in the story. What does this show about him? I don't know yet, so I'm going to just write down it as a question. What does this show? Why can't he spell? Oh, wait, we do have an answer. It's probably related to this. And because this seems important. So go ahead and keep finding all the misspellings. There is a reason I'm asking you to do this, so just trust me. Gosh, there's a lot. And as you're finding misspellings, reread it. I really tried to see. I mean, he really cares. This is maybe a thought or an action. He really cares about doing well. I tried hard, but still couldn't find the pictures. I told him maybe I need new glasses. He wrote something, got scared. More feelings of being frightened. I mean, there's so many parts here where he's mentioning he's scared. That is an important piece of his character. And he's scared of failure. Nice ink blot with little points. Try again. Wow. If I go too fast, I miss a lot of words he's misspelling. So sometimes I have to go back and slow down. I got to go back and do this part. Slow down. Notice I am dragging my pencil word by word, taking my time. Still missing other words, so I really have to slow down. Okay, I think I got most of the misspelled words. He gave me a chance with another card that had two kinds of ink spilled on it. Oh, that's interesting. Now he spelled spilled correctly on it, red and blue. He was very nice and talked slow like Miss Kenyon. So that's the second time Miss Kenyon has been introduced. I like to mark where characters are introduced with a box. It helps me keep track of who's who. So I guess we also have Mr. Strauss up here. Feel free to use the box method to find character names. And he explained it to me that it was a raw shock. That can't be spelled right. He said people see things in the ink. I said, show me where. He said, think. I told him, I think an ink blot. That should be Anne. Wasn't right. He said, what does it remind you? Pretend something. I closed my eyes, trying to pretend. And then, so this is his thoughts or actions. Again, Charlie can't seem to think abstractly. So the reason why I'm writing this is because I know what the raw shock means. And you're going to learn, I think in the next progress report, he's going to explain to you. And we're actually going to do exactly what Charlie's doing in class. So, woof, there are all of my annotations. It took about 9 minutes to do one page. You're going to have to annotate and read about 1 to 3 pages each day. So that's pretty reasonable. And I hope tomorrow, when you come to class, you've seen the whole video, or else I'm going to boot you out, make you watch it. And we're actually going to spend time annotating the next progress report 3 and progress report 5. If you have any questions, look back at the rubric. Reread the different things you can write in the margins. And yes, I do need you to start to learn STEAL. I need you to learn this type of characterization. This is just a helpful acronym like PEMDAS in math. It's helpful because it shows you how do authors develop characters. It's through one of these 5 methods. That's all. I hope you guys enjoy this story. I love it. Can't wait to talk about it with you. Thanks, everyone.